Hi, and a very good morning to those of you who are still in morning time. A good afternoon for many others I know around the world, and a few attendees are in evening. So, welcome to you all. Thanks for joining us today. This is one in a series of our Vox Tech Talk webinars where we look at some pressing stories, some pressing situations around in the area of technology and travel and tourism today. This session is about MaaS, or Mobility as a Service, which is a game-changing concept really in urban transport, and it's all about integrating various transportation options. So it might be public transit, bike sharing, ride hailing, even walking into a single digital platform. And for tourists, what that can mean is a seamless, stress-free way to explore a city using perhaps one app to plan and book and pay for their journey. But the question is, why is all this important for tourism? And that's what we're going to explore. As cities grow and as tourists expect more convenience, Mars can offer a simplified way to travel, reduce congestion, enhance the overall experience, all those things. And that makes it essential for destination management organizations and DMOs as well to adapt by integrating Mars into their strategies. Cities can then offer perhaps a smoother, greener, maybe a more attractive tourism experience. So that's what the webinar is about. And joining me today on the illustrious panel is Laurent Kernzel from Asian Trails, CEO of Asian Trails, Gianluca Camaggio from Tourism Barcelona and the City Destination Alliance, and Andrea Leverano from ATM Milano, which is the transit authority in Milan. So let's get this going right away. And I'm going to throw it first to Gianluca. And guys, please introduce yourselves as we go along here as you come to answer some questions. Gianluca, Barcelona is pretty much widely recognized as a leader in this integration of Mars and city tourism. Can you share for us some key lessons perhaps learned from your experience in implementing Mars alongside city passes? What were the challenges and how were they overcome? And then please make an introduction also.
Okay, thank you, John. First of all, thank you for having me in this wonderful and illustrious panel. Well, I'm Gianluca, as you said. I'm responsible for sales channels, some part of marketing and products development here at Turismo de Barcelona. And I also have the honor of representing the destination into a bigger network of cities promoting their destination through city cards. So that's why I'm also representing City Destination Alliance somehow. Well, as you said in this brief introduction, mobility is a key, either for locals and visitors. And for us, you know that Barcelona has always been part of this, let's say, progress that we're trying to establish as destination. As we have several issues, there's nothing to hide there. There are some part of the area of the city that are overcrowded. I don't want to use the word over tourism. I just say crowd management because that's what it is. There's no such thing as over tourism when you manage properly the crowds and the visitor flow. So our main goal as a DMO, as a service provider, as a city representative, and also promoting the destination is always tell people there's a different way to enjoy the destination. There's a different way you can really take advantage in knowing a city not as big, because Barcelona seems big, has a big heart, that's for sure, but not big as a destination. So that's part of our promotional strategy and also our product strategy. Try to develop something that might help customers follow that path that we're trying to establish called decentralization. Decentralization is key for us, and MaaS systems, transportation, mobility is part of that process, because if you want to take people out certain areas of the city, you need to provide them with few tools. First tool is information. You need to tell them what you're about to see. If you're taking a journey outside the known area or the off the beaten path, let's say like this, you need to know what's there. So information is key, and then you have to provide them mobility. Mobility can be reached through different services and products. In Barcelona, we started. It seems fun, but we started recently with an integrated system of transportation for locals, and the next step is the possibility transfer it to visitors. So we have transportation passes that allows you to reach the city center from the airport and travel basically the whole metropolitan area of Barcelona. But then we need to connect this with visitors because not everybody is skilled with net of underground subway system. Not everybody can use buses. Here we speak Catalan, so all the announcements we have in public transportation are made in Catalan, not even Spanish. So you need to be aware that giving them some tools on how to properly enjoy the usage of public transportation while you reach something that I tell you that is relevant to see, it's key. So these tools for us are mandatory as a destination.
Thank you. Yeah. Have you seen a shift in tourist behaviour since you've been introducing this? How has that changed the way they're interacting with the city?
Well, first of all, we need to talk about profiles because, of course, you can launch some initiatives. You can be proactive somehow in some channels, but you won't be able to reach everybody. We have cruise ship passengers. We have people coming from the coast, spending one day in Barcelona. We have people, city breakers, coming 2 days, 2 days and a half here. We have people with families. So everybody has a different profile. So what we did actually as a DMO is try to be able to promote different ways of how to use mobility. For example, cruise ships. We try to be in contact with the cruise ships, of course, but sometimes it's hard to let people read what the information we give them. So the first service we offer to them is the hop on hop off bus. It's not passing through the city center. It's not passing through the crowded area. It brings you directly to your points of interest. So we use that as a mobility solution, which is good for them because they see the city in one day. They can hop on, hop off all day long, and they can enjoy Barcelona. And we provide them the best information and the best way to enjoy the city. Secondary thing, it's always, of course, use the city card of Barcelona, adding the offer that is also outside the city center, giving them the
Yeah.
opportunity because, of course, saturated areas are a heat wave right now. I mean, everybody's there. You need to enjoy the city, so go outside, try to see what's outside the beaten path. Let's say like this.
That's
It's
great.
hard to communicate that with them, but what we do is always try to, every promotional material we give them is try to put under the spotlight whatever it's interesting to do. Whatever is the reason you're coming to Barcelona, there's something interesting for you to do. Is your first time? Of course, it's hard that I take you off the Ramblas. You need to go there. You need to go to Sagrada Familia. But we're also lucky that more or less half of the visitors of the city are repeaters, so are more skilled in the mobility usage of public transportation, and they know better the city. They want to see something different. So we also intervene in that way.
Yeah, very good. Presumably, the cooperation between the different parts of the city and transportation, also that cooperation helps communication too, I guess, to tourism, to tourists. Andrea, Milan has been very successful in leveraging data to optimize MaaS. Can you explain a little bit of that? Perhaps how you use data and perhaps improving user experience, that sort of thing. How the impact of this what impact it has on public transport and tourist mobility generally. Is that something you could chat about?
Okay. First of all, thank you, John, for the inviting me at this very interesting webinar. Thank you to everybody, and because I think this topic is really very, very important for us. Just a couple of words about ATM. I represent here as a head of, let's say, commercial development. ATM is the transit company of the city of Milan and this area. Just to give you an idea, we are speaking about 3.2 million of inhabitants, and we daily move with our system a little bit less than 3 million of passengers daily. And we manage somehow a lot of different main of transportation. We have, let's say, 5 lines of the metro, 17 tram lines and bus and stuff. The city of Milan is in a special contest because, especially after Expo in 2015, the number of visitors of the city that historically was, let's say, industrial and business city, Milan, compared to the other touristic one, we have seen a sort of increase, double-digit increase of number of visitors. I mean, First of all, MaaS, so all the people arrive here for events or business reasons. But on top, we have a lot of visitors for tourism in the city of Milan that simply 10 years ago was considered impossible. Just to give you a couple of numbers, we are speaking about 11 millions of visitors in 2023 that were impossible a few time ago. Just to give you the context, the context is a city that somehow had to transform itself a bit and manage this kind of transformation in environmental and quality of life, let's say, context. And for sure, ITM played an important role in this change because, let's say, we are providing, let's say, all the system, let's say, with, sustainable energy, mainly electric, and on top we had integrated all the system with a door-to-door approach since many years because on top of the metro, tram, as I said, and bus, we have also a bike sharing system that is integrated in our system and managed by us in partnership with a partner, but really integrated with our system. And that kind of offer really, as said correctly by Gianluca and you, John, it's very, very important that is really well known by everybody in all the customer journey. So starting from having the right information when you need the right information for your door-to-door need every day. So the ideal word is to have an app, as like we have now. We are also day by day try to improve this app and change, and then later I could give you some update about this. But the app start from the route planner. So start from the idea that when you get up in the morning, you have many different things to do, and we know how much our daily attitude and needs has changed in the last years. And we know immediately which are the options to use transit system, but also multimodal system in order to move around easily, also in a sustainable way, and also with the right cost and benefits approach. So our app is a real asset that, let's say, support our audience, our customer, in order to understand how to move in a better way in the city. But also after know and make your choice, also buy the ticket or the let's say what you need in order to move around. And we will speak probably about this later, but the concept of MaaS, the concept of sustainable mobility, or the concept of intermodality is well known since many years in theory. What is really hard is it's really being able uh, to provide an easy and smooth solution to the end customer, especially in a context where everybody, we are in a really demanding and also opportunity contest. We are used to
Yeah.
use a lot of apps, a lot of technology and stuff like that. So for the moment, I would stop here. What we have done is really being conscious of our history, 90 year of history in Milan with a lot of operation since the last years. Considering the context changing so fast, we are also investing in what is untouchable, like communication, like clear customer experience, and integration between different systems. But this is the second part of the story, because sometimes it's not very easy to put at the same table with the same plan and the same vision different player in the city. But this is part of our job.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, digitization really is one of the keys, isn't it? And we've been working together on the Milan City Pass, the Yes Milano Pass, and that certainly has been a major step in integrating so many different parts of the city experience along with transportation. Um, Tourism is still in many ways a cottage industry, isn't it? As we say in the UK. I mean, it's an industry where it's a mom and pop industry in so many areas, that bringing everybody along on the digital journey is a big ask. It's a difficult area, and it's something that I think now is really becoming the big opportunity that we can all work towards. Have you got any further upcoming projects or technologies that are going to revolutionise the city's transport and tourism experience, Andrea?
Yeah, speaking about digitalization, I give you a couple of number. We sell more than 40% of our product by digital channel, and we are around 80% of cashless payments, so with electronic payment.
Right.
One of the little but big change, the improvement we had in the last 5 years was the EMV system. So you can pay directly with your credit card without doing nothing with a system that guarantee you the best price every time. And you can imagine, especially for the casual users thinking about the tourism and so on, that kind of innovation is like in other city worldwide, let's say, but it's really a game changer because we have seen that number growing a lot. So what we are conscious about is that, let's say, in the frame of guarantee the better quality, we have to invest a lot on the digital experience with us. And
Yep.
let's say the big news we have in our system now is the fact that we are also going to provide a new completely digital abo for the long haul, because to be honest, since so far our app is not really able to provide you the annual I'm missing the word, the correct word for me, but the annual abo for the transit system, but just the 1 day, 2 days, or the single ride. The next step will be that with our app you can buy everything. So you can buy occasional tickets and also annual, let's say, registration for in order to utilize our system long
Yeah.
all the year without NFC technology. So with a really easy customer experience, it's like the credit card. You just have to put in our smart gate this your
Yeah.
smartphone, and you can enter without problem. And what is nice that we are also trying to create bundle between all the service we are providing. Means not just transit system but also parking, because we are also managing parking on the road and off road in some like 20 parking lots in the city of Milan for the city, but also in Milan, since some years we have a congestion charge area in the city center that also support a lot in terms of sustainable mobility, and also let's say making a transit system and intermodality more convenient than cars. And we are also able with our app to sell the ticket to enter in the city center when people needs to enter with vehicles. And so the next step that will be in 1 month or would be that the app will be really able to integrate all these products in a unique digital experience with the better price. So in order to make, let's say, the frequently user of the ATM system in a privileged condition in order to buy parking when they need to park outside of the city their car in order to move in the city with transit system, or when they have to register to bike sharing, they will have the discounts, or when they have to, let's say, uh, register to other sharing system, because we are also looking at outside of our let's say network, but also integrating with other sharing system as like moped, other bicycle bike sharing
Right.
system, or car sharing, electric car sharing in
Mhm.
some cases, because we know that is never fight between cars and transit, but it is a matter of provide the proper and more sustainable solution to everybody, as we said before. So if I have to mention one big innovation in the next future, will be this completely digitalized tools in our smartphone that provides to our customer the better experience, I would say.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to turn to you, Laurent, if I may. Bangkok is I know you cover many cities in Asia, but Bangkok is a major hub for tourism, yet it sort of lacks really a fully integrated mass strategy. Um, Given your experience working with tourism planners, you know, the tourist board, that sort of thing, what do you see as the key barriers for Bangkok in adopting this type of solution? You know, how can a DMC like yourself play a role in moving the conversation forward? And perhaps just introduce yourself as you go.
Yeah, so thank you, John, and thank you very much for having me with you today. For me, it's afternoon here in Bangkok. So I'm running a DMC. My head office is here in Bangkok, in Thailand, but I have offices all through Southeast Asia and China. I'm coming, like probably most DMCs that have been around for a period of time, from a traditional background. So I was bundling services in the past to sell them to tour operators and travel agents by manual emails and whatever means that we have. And I have embraced the digital side of the business that is becoming more and more important to what we do, not just in Thailand, but in all the countries that we are in Southeast Asia. And I'm following the developments on what's happening very closely because I think that in the future there will be quite a few opportunities in MaaS for us as a DMC to digitally distribute our services, such as a walking city tour, for example, in Bangkok or in Kuala Lumpur and so on. Now, one of the problems that some cities in Asia will be facing in making these projects turn into reality is that in many cities like Bangkok, for example, you do not have one transportation provider for the entire city. So you have a concessionaire that is running the SkyTrain, for example, and another concessionaire is running the subway. And then you have the Straight Railway of Thailand that is running other lines. So these are all kind of standalone mobility providers, public transport, but they cook their own soup. Now, how does the government actually work on getting this together? Today, I haven't seen a solution for this. So you are able, for example, to buy a tourist pass for a sky train or for a subway, but there is no tourist pass that combines the two. And for me, of course, my interest in these tourist passes is to see where is my little pot of gold. So where can I play a role that can give travelers coming to a city they don't know or that they do know with services that enhance their tourism experiences. So book a tour, for example, or just join a tour online, such as a Vox City Walk that we operate in Bangkok or in Kuala Lumpur. And this is a development that I'm actually watching very interestingly. Maybe in Asia, we are still a little bit behind of what you have been able to achieve in Barcelona or what you want to achieve in Milan. But I'm sure that when the time comes, this will happen here. And my aim is to play a role in this.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Now, I can see very clearly, I know Bangkok well, and I can see very clearly that issue. And it is so important to find these opportunities for integration. Gianluca, you've done quite a lot of study of city passes, I think, haven't you? And you know, from that and from your own experience, what advice would you give cities like Bangkok or well, most cities in the world still, those that are just starting to explore MaaS? How can they scale up effectively? What's your recommendation on that?
Well, I'm lucky enough to discuss these issues yearly, basically, with my colleagues of other 40 destinations here in Europe. And there's always a key, which is the public and private collaboration. I want to say that what Andrea said, what they're doing in Milan it's very impressive because there's the public initiative of public transportation to develop a tool that starts with locals always, but ends up also used by tourists. So once you have that kind of interest of improving the overall infrastructure, the mobility, the service, make a seamless experience, uh, even the extreme version by using your own credit card, I think it's something really important and that affects directly 100% then what's the visitor experience in your destination, because at the end of the day, everything goes there. It goes to people enjoying your city the same day, either locals or visitors. So Europe-wide, there's always a thing that a main theme, which is how do you want to people feel your city? Would you like to make it easier? Would you like to showcase your heritage? Would you like to let everybody enjoy what you have? It's not only about museums, attractions, things that are prepared for visitors that are there, also for locals, of course, but mainly visitors are coming daily to museums or enjoying attractions or excursions or tours or whatever. You need to find that collaboration between private and public. Sometimes it's the private sector that has a need, but then the public service, the public sector, either a transportation company or a DMO or a city government, need to hear that need, push towards a solution. So right now in Europe, the main goal is digitalize, whether it's only transportation or transportation and city cards. Put everything into the same system and let the visitor enjoy it with their mobile phone, and the seamless experience they are having in Milan with the Milano Pass, they are going to have it, or they need to have in Barcelona, in Berlin, in Gdansk, Lviv, wherever you go, you have to enjoy the same kind of standard. So that's the standard. That's where we are going. And I really enjoy, really enjoy what you're doing in Milan.
Yeah, interesting. How can we measure success of this? Andrea, perhaps, or anybody, please comment. But what metrics or indicators should cities and businesses perhaps focus on when you're measuring the success of MaaS in tourism? Are there any specific KPIs that have proven to be the most effective?
If I may start, I'm sorry, Andrea.
No, no,
No,
no.
please
Sorry,
go.
but the key here is always, of course, you're dealing with landmarks, major sites. I think it's the goal is once you have a seamless transportation level, you put everybody on the same level. So that's the goal of the city. Not only be represented by only one thing, but everybody on the same level, every museum, every attraction, whether it's from the city center or the outside. That's the goal of the destination. Then Andrea, it's up to you. Sorry.
No, no, it's true, Gianluca. It's a nice question because, of course, one of the metric is, for example, if we speak about City Pass, we launch City Pass, the official one, let's say, provided by the City of Milan, since 1 year, more or less. And to be honest, we have seen something around 10, 12,000 City Pass sold. And honestly, as to you, Gianluca, or to Lauren, or to John, if this number is something that say us something about the successful or not of that specific product. But I will not focus on that because somehow could be also a test. It could be also that we have, let's say, to do further analysis about the pricing, for example, depending on the target we are providing this kind of city pass and so on. But what would be, from my point of view, an interesting output in order to understand the success of a strategy about MaaS and tourism is the fact, two things. One is to see how how our mobility in our network change in the time. If we see the last 2 years, we have seen for the first time that Saturday is the day with the larger number of user compared to other day during the week. And this
Oh,
have never been in the past because in Milan, historically, the busy day were between Monday to Friday, more or less. So, and the fact that Saturday grow up like the start day of the week, not every week of the year, but many of that, show us that the user also of the city, the visitor from outside, on top of the change in the mobility in our attitude as citizen of Milan, really demonstrated the transit system and the intermodality connected transit system or let's say in general, the sustainable mobility is more and more a concrete solution for mobility in the city. And when even the visitor of the city arriving here, not just with the idea that Milano is the fashion capital in the South Europe, for example, or we have some kind of Italian flavor, more or less it's like Rome, but not so nice, but anyhow with other kind of, let's say, interesting attraction. And you can visit that city in a sustainable way. So you don't need to take too much a taxi, a traditional taxi, for example, or you don't have to rent a car because you can easily move around with any solution. Also going outside of the city in a sustainable way, and we see this by number. That is of course a great outputs that we like to see in that kind of strategy. And the second point is that just to mention you, we have done a sort of partnership, a collaboration with an important credit card provider in order to do some kind of analysis about how the citizen, and but mainly how the tourist in Milan spend their money when they stay here.
Right.
Let's say at the beginning, the problem was that, at least from my point of view, but not only mine, a lot of the wallet was dedicated to shopping and not so much to culture, and a lot of transportation, because a lot of tourists, especially some kind of MaaS visitors or tourists, in the past use a lot private mobility. Now we start to change a little bit, change on this. So of course fashion is always very important. We see of course hospitality also as let's say the star in that kind of model split, but step by step also culture, but on top grow, and mobility became a little bit lower because people start to use more our system. That, by the way, is also much more convenient from the economical point of view compared to other private systems. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to provide this is my
Thank you.
feedback.
We have got some questions coming in, and I'm conscious that Andrea, you have to leave at quarter to the hour. But I'm going to just throw something quickly to Laurent, if I may, and then come back to you, Andrea, before you have to leave. Laurent, one of the things that puzzles me about, well, not puzzles me, but is a question I would like to ask personally, is about the government in Bangkok, or the city local government. How can they be incentivized to make this happen? Because I'm presuming that it's an inherent thing that the government has to be involved, particularly with the city's infrastructure that is still developing in Thailand, in Bangkok. How can tourism businesses incentivize them, or work towards making the government invest in this, do you think?
Of course, I mean, government is naturally the key to establish this. So it's local government here. It's kind of getting everybody around the table and find a way how to do it. Uh, in Asia, maybe that works a little bit different than it does in Europe or in the West. There are many implications. I don't want to say self-interest, but of course there are some political implications and so on. Instead of seeing, 5 different soups, if they would see one and contribute to all of it, that would be a very good step in the right direction. So how to get these people around the table? Of course, it's a very difficult and really a rhetorical question with everything that's happening. Who can, of course, play a key role is the tourism authority. So we have a strong tourism authority in Thailand. They're called TAT, and they could be a
Yeah.
mean to try to drive this forward, because of course it would also be in their interest, ease of travel and getting more customers into the country, and of course also into Bangkok. From
Mm.
the private industry to actually play a role in this is probably very difficult. Now we can play a role when we are talking about assisting them, helping them, giving them information, or connecting them to people who have maybe done this in other cities if they don't have these connections. which we
Yeah.
might have. So yes, connecting people is something that we can do from our side, but it really has to be driven for very obvious reasons by the local government.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Okay, just if I may, I'm going to move back to Andrea and Gianluca. I've got lots to ask you as well, but I know Andrea has to go. Andrea, someone asked, you mentioned the app. What was the name of the app that you mentioned? Is a question that's come in from the audience. Could you just repeat the name of the app?
Yeah, for the moment, we will say as the app of ATM. So you will see in the next months, let's say that you will be a completely new app that will substitute what we have now. So it's simply the app of ATM. If you put ATM Milano on the App Store, you will find our app. So
Perfect.
that's
Thank
for
you.
the moment.
Can I ask you then a question that sort of flows from what we were talking about earlier? How difficult would you say it is for major cities like Milan to fully integrate public transportation ticketing to external distributors, but particularly to extend the type of offer that tourists or non-residents might, would be looking for? How can you distribute
You,
externally, as it were?
You mean that, but first of all, as Lauren mentioned, we also have a different provider. Of course, in Milan, we play in the city of Milan itself, we play the 80% of the game, but anyhow, we have to be integrated with also the regional system of trains and also with some other, let's say, bus company that integrate the service with the city of Milan and the surrounding. And
Mhm.
uh, and first of all, to be honest, not always easy to being able to integrate all the system, especially when we would need a clear support by the central administration, because somehow they have to provide clear rules and somehow also integrated system, because I live physically this experience. Many times we have to move first, for example, in EMV system, the payment with a credit card. And of course, the other players don't like too much use our system. And we understood that, so it's fair. But if we want to be integrated in the system and make all the customer experience the same, door to door, we should be able to provide the same experience with credit card, also with the train system in the regional level and so on. Of course, as Lauren mentioned, if the central administration of the region would be a little bit more supportive in that kind of integration, at least providing a unique system, of course, reaching the feedback by the player, but anyhow, providing a unique system would be a little bit easier. So this in terms of integration of the system, of the ticket payment, on the access of the system, and also the sale. Um, so that is a bit the issue on that side. On the other side, of course, if we speak, for example, about intermodality integration with the sharing system, a little bit outside of us, uh, there it's always a matter of cost benefit, let's say, approach. To be very honest with you, so far in Milan, we are managing the system in a gross cost contract system. So we have to be very, let's say, keen and effective and efficient on cost, providing the best service, but with very attention to the efficiency of the system. And anytime you have to play about integration of the system and so on, generally the costs start to increase. So the really issue is being able to be moving like us with having first in mind the customer experience and the spread of the system in terms of sustainability and so on, but being able to provide easy solution and especially efficient system in order not to increase too much our cost and
Okay,
maintain the
thank you.
system sustainable in the long time.
Yeah, thank you. Just in the 3 minutes you've got left, one more question. I'm digging them out fast here. What technologies do you use in Milan for route optimization and better user experience? For example, APIs, internet, AI. How do you optimize?
Yes, we use API, I would say, and mainly it's a system somehow that guarantee the, let's say, the better integration for our point of view. And we daily work with our IT department in order to, let's say, look around which is the best solution on the market. But to be very honest, all the ticketing and access system is a really hard and spread and an expensive system. So anytime we have to consider how to improve and how to change, it's a long discussion, it's a long plan, and not very easy, to be very honest.
Right, right. Listen, Andrea, I just to say thank you to you for your contribution. I know you have to step away. It's been a pleasure having you here as part of the panel, and I'm sure we'll speak again. So thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
to thank you to
Okay,
you all. What was much more interesting for me here, your contribution than you. I still have 1 minute, and we stay here, and then I say you goodbye
perfect. Yeah, and we'll
now.
say bye-bye.
Ciao.
Gianluca, can I throw back to you now? I think let's take a little bit more in depth in Barcelona, what you've been doing. Um, the conversations that happen and the meetings that happen between transport, between the city tourism planners, how does that work? Is it something that has regularity to it?
Well, first of all, it's a customer that everybody wants. The visitor, I mean, the impact, economical impact that the visitor economy has is very high. So everybody has interest, whether you provide a service or whether you want just to attract people with high spending power. So the discussion usually are friendly, of course, friendly and always related to what kind of service we need to provide. Sometimes I say that Barcelona is a special city because there's a proud in the city to be itself, but also to provide a top-notch quality service. That proud also reflects on, for example, the fact that the hop on hop of bus that I mentioned before is run together in a partnership between us and the public transportation. What does it mean? We want to offer the best service ever, top-notch quality service. It's a business, yes, but it's a business that gives back to the image of the destination and also creates, of course, incomes for both companies. Said so, in Barcelona, as I showed before, there's a local pass, integrated pass for mobility, but also there's a tourist version dedicated only to them. For example, with the normal pass, you cannot reach the airport without paying an extra fare. With the transportation pass for tourists, it's included. So you know that you have to give back a service. Also, public transportation company here in Barcelona called TMB, they also run, they say, leisure transportation. There's a cable car here in Barcelona, maybe the most panoramic in all Europe, that goes up to the Montjuic cliff here. It's run by public transportation and has all the certificates for accessibility. So we need to provide, as a city, a good image, but also the good service. So every discussion we have, it's always to improve services towards tourists. But as I said before, the leader always needs to be the local. The local needs to see everything for themselves, every service, every experience, payment, the app, the integration. They need to see the benefit for themselves, and this directly reflected to the visitors also.
Yeah. Laurent, in Thailand, we've talked about the SkyTrain and Metro and so on, the fairly big infrastructure projects. What about the small guys? You know, the tuk-tuks and the taxis and so on. Are they coordinated in any way? I've never really understood if they're fully independent guys, or is there something behind it that's driving it all that could be integrated? Is it very fragmented or not?
Basically, it's completely fragmented. So it's not that everyone is on his own, but what we have here is people are called Puyai, which means actually the big guy. And the big guy might be an association, it might just be a private person who had the money to loan it to the tuk-tuk drivers so that they could start their business. and they have to pay a share of it or they pay a rent of it, in whichever way that this has happened. But essentially, this is all private. Now there is, of course, we have rate hailing systems here. The equivalent of Uber, it's called Grab, like in many other countries in Southeast Asia. And there's also an app for tuk-tuks. So that app for tuk-tuk is actually an association as such. So it's an assembly of tuk-tuks who are running in certain parts of the city, either at predisposed spots or very simply like a rate hailing, but just within a certain area of the city. Now, to integrate this in MaaS together with the government, yes, I think in the long-term future there could be a possibility. But right now, I still think we are so much in the children's shoes that we first need to do the groundwork to get out of these children's shoes and start to walk, and then really take it from there. I see the step-by-step approach actually as being very important. And usually in Asia, step-by-step approaches happen very, very quickly. So the beginning is maybe a little bit slow. Well, not in all countries. Some countries are very fast, like Singapore or China. But in some others, it might be a little bit slower. But once it keeps going, once the motivation is back behind it, and of course also financial attraction and reward, then it moves very fast. So my hope is that this is going to happen here.
Yeah. Gianluca, do you, Laurent gives some good points there. It is fragmented, very, very fragmented there. And I guess it must be in many, many cities. So is there a danger that small guys get left behind in this sort of integration of MaaS with tourism?
Well,
They don't have the connectivity.
I hope not. So of course, once the big guys are connected, so the SkyTrain and the MRT and so on, I think there will be many, many opportunities for tuk-tuk drivers to play a role in this, maybe Grab, because it's really all about connecting systems, about connecting people, and to really make sure that everybody gets a piece of the cake. Naturally, that includes also the Papa Mama shops that you mentioned before, that maybe do not have the technological abilities that the bigger companies have. I think they should also have a possibility to be in there, and I believe there will be. I mean, maybe you will have a biking tour that is part of MaaS. Maybe you will have just a discount on something that can then enhance customers to pay money directly to the local people in order to get the service. I think there are many, many possibilities how you can look into this, but we really need to get started somewhere here.
Yeah, so some countries have been very engaged with tourism providers in terms of digitization. I think in Bord Fáilte in Ireland, for example, has had big programs to digitize the tourism economy right across Ireland, from the small to the bigger, quite successfully in some ways. Gianluca, you've studied the history of this, I think, haven't you? The history of city passes and so on. How do you see this evolving in future, learning on lessons of the past, as it were?
Well, related a little bit of what Laurent said at the beginning, there needs to be an initiative of the whole structure involved. We are lucky, of course, that we live in Europe, that we represent European cities. So there's the European government, the European community pushing a lot towards digitalization. As a matter of fact, last year they conceded to cities what they called Next Generation EU funds to help digitalize mobility services, improve the overall destination, overall city outcome related to communication, mobility, and whatever can be improved towards digitalization. So we are lucky about that, because the story taught us that sometimes the improvement comes from the small part. That's why also I was relating this to Laurent and what he said before. I think in this case, the impulse should start from the city, move on to the region, and then arrive finally to the nation. There will be one day when you can use your public transportation pass and just upload your tickets when you are coming from Barcelona and visiting Zaragoza and going to Madrid. There need to be that impulse, but it starts from the city. I want to be connected to the nearby city, so we need to do things together. I think that that's the future where we are going. And we started a long time ago. The first city passes in Europe. I don't. We are one of the oldest in Barcelona. We are not the oldest, but we are between them. We started in 1997. It was a paper, tier of paper that you have to provide to give to the museum or every place you were visiting, and they were recounting that piece of paper. So things evolved from NFC technology to QR codes. And what I hope to see is the wallet technology next step. Everything in your wallet and your readers be able to validate your entrance. So we are lucky anyway that we have a backup from the European community that sees a bigger goal in this, not only economical interest, but overall effect in the digitalization of Europe. Because if you talk about digitalization, sometimes we feel that we are behind. China, for example, that have everything on super apps like WeChat. So we need to we get our grip on the situation and be able to follow that lead. And in this case, it's the cities transmitting their needs.
Right, right. So 5 to 10 years ahead, we're looking at some significant growth,
Yeah,
I
we're
think,
talking
coming.
about everything in your mobile phone. We're talking about everything seamless. You not sometimes I dream about the fact that we might be able to sell something. You arrive at your hotel, not your card to access into your hotel room will be on your wallet, and your wallet will be the key to the city because you'll be able to upload services to that. I think that's a foreseeable future because tourism industry, together with, I mean, factory production or in general technological sector, I think the tourism industry is where the evolution of technology is running faster. At least we
Mm,
can see because think about airplanes. We started with the travel agent booking everything for us, giving us a piece of paper. Then you go to the counter at the airport. Now, if you have a booking, you can go straight up to the flight without nobody telling you anything. So hotels, same thing. We were writing emails or actually sending fax to hotels, booking a room for a group. And now you can go through a platform and book 20 rooms without any problem, already calculating the commissions
mm.
for the travel agents. So I always enjoy every talk there is, and also thank you for organizing these talks because it's interesting to see where the technology is going in the tourism industry because we are leaders and everything we do is foreseeable and you can see that in your hands and it's affecting you 100%. Everybody's a traveler.
Yeah, yeah, no, I see that. We're deeply invested in destination management solutions at Vox, and our digital city passes are really groundbreaking as it happens. So we sort of understand what the importance of this area, and it's very exciting to see
Yeah.
this moving so quickly. Just to sort of finish up, I'm seeing if there are any more questions out there. I think we've covered most. Well, just talk about sustainability for a minute. Sort of things do come back to that in a way at the end. How can, and just a question to both of you, how can DMCs, DMOs, transit authorities collaborate to promote more eco-friendly tourism practices, do you think? I guess it's part and parcel of this, but specifically touching on that subject.
I think for me, I mean, the easy answer is really public transport is, of course, one of the most sustainable ways to get around in a city. So naturally, the more you can push it, the more sustainable you are. Of course, also, so is a walking tour, also is a biking tour. But really, if you look at the bigger picture of things, everything is related to using more public transport because it's there, it's running whether we sit in or not, and it very clearly is the most sustainable way to travel. Naturally, you have to get on an airplane to come here. How sustainable that is, I think I don't want to get into this conversation now. That's maybe for another Vox Tech talk in the future. But I think very clearly the public transport plays a huge role in sustainability.
Yeah,
Yes.
and integrating it is yeah, the perfect way to move forward. Gianluca, I mean, any quick thoughts?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a feeling, the overall feeling for, especially for younger generations, using the word. That's why we're using the word visitor, not tourist, because nobody wants to be a tourist. That overall thinking and that mindset helped us, especially after the pandemic, where the group travel had really was hit. I mean, there were no groups around cities, so that helped us switch a little bit and became more sustainable. Now I see personally, I see on the subway or public buses a small group of 6 people traveling with their own guide, using their wireless communicator system. So I see that it's part of the tendency of what people want. So we want to be more sustainable. That's true, but there needs to be an infrastructure helping you. So good transportation, easy to understand, and a person may be leading you there. But the third part is also to the city and the initiatives coming from the cities, like we did in Barcelona. Now you are not allowed to go with a bus, with a big bus in front of the Sagrada Familia, because it was so saturated by buses that you cannot upload and offload people there. So the city sets some standards, but then the quality of the service and the overall thinking of the customers and the visitors helps become more sustainable. And I see now groups are not scared anymore of using public transportation, which is key.
Great. Guys, we've actually concluded here exactly on the hour, so it's good timing. I'd like to thank you both, and of course Andrea in his absence, for your contributions today. It's been really interesting talking to you. I think we're on a really hot topic here, and we'll certainly make sure that this video is available for further circulation outside this session now. And we'll do some snippets and so on, put them up on LinkedIn, and we can share those around. So thank you again. What a wonderful hour we've had. I'd just like to tell everybody, look out for the next one. The next one is the World Travel Market Special. We're actually conducting this at World Travel Market, which will be quite an interesting challenge, I'm sure. And it's all about unlocking in-destination data as a new frontier for operators. So that should be quite interesting as well. That's on the 6th of November at World Travel Market in the afternoon, before we do our famous happy hour session at World Travel Market at the box stand. So look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, audience, for your participation. Also, very valuable to have you. Thank you for the questions, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye
Very
bye.
much. Goodbye.
Bye. Sawadee ka.
Papunka.